How's it going, everybody? I'm the Toku Professor, and today, not only am I going to be covering the complete history of a monster, as usual, I'm also going to be simultaneously fishing from this pier, because I was invited here for Labor Day weekend by my buddy Riding Cicada Wise.
Yo!
I'm going to be competing against him in a relaxing friend versus friend fishing competition. But they call it Labor Day, so I should be able to do some labor I enjoy and teach a virtual class on the side, right? A day without teaching about Toku is a sad day indeed, after all. So while I fish, let's discuss a fishy kaiju, namely Gatos, from Episode 2 of Ultraman Blazar. We'll start by looking at his behind-the-scenes history. This very recently introduced monster was designed by an artist named Kisen, and first appeared in an episode written by Keigo Koyanagi. It was designed to resemble a fish, specifically a horse mackerel, while also taking a few aspects of its design from other sea creatures, probably including an anglerfish. Notes alongside his concept art mention that the eyeball was supposed to be shiny all over, and the only spot with a reflection was supposed to be the pupil, to imitate the eyes of deep-sea creatures like frilled sharks. Never noticed that about deep-sea fish. Maybe I should stare into their eyeballs more often. A source claims its name comes from the Greek word kitos, used for many mythological sea creatures. I couldn't determine how the monster's roar was created, and I also don't know who was responsible for modeling the monster's suit, but I do know that once it was complete, Kenji Kajikawa got to wear it. What's awesome is that I was able to find a behind-the-scenes documentary of Ultraman Blazar, which, among many other awesome things, shows Kajikawa playing the kaiju. It features Kajikawa training to get Gatos' wiggling motion right, the costume getting little explosives detonated on its body, paste being applied to the monster's mouth for the scene where the monster stops for a bite to eat, and more. Tokusatsu practical effects are just so cool, aren't they? Someone posted the behind-the-scenes documentary here on YouTube, so I'll provide a link to it in the description so you can watch for yourself. Okay, let's move into Gatos' in-universe history now, because the fish don't really seem to care about the behind-the-scenes stuff despite how neat it was. Maybe seeing a fish like kaiju in action will get us better results. In The Man Who Created Scarred, the second Ultraman Blazar episode, a group of fishermen spotted something rather large on their sonar fish finder, a creature one of the men claimed was named Gatos, who apparently hadn't been seen since the mid-Edo period. This creature, who looked kind of like a kaiju from another universe, Gezura, normally lived deep under the waves, but occasionally made its way up into shallower water or even onto land to look for food whenever it got really hungry. The water near the boat of the fishermen began bubbling, and suddenly a blue light began flashing from beneath the sea, and the kaiju emerged right in front of them. But to build suspense, the episode then cut away from the fishermen before viewers could get a good look at the monster. A later shot briefly gave us a shot of Gatos from the back, as it splashed around on the surface of the water before submerging itself again. It was later reported to have sunk a freighter near Shichi Jojima Island, prompting the newly formed Scarred team to begin an investigation. The ship that sunk was probably this vessel, owned by Hapag-Lloyd, which, by the way, is a real German shipping and container transportation company that operates worldwide. Gatos was next shown eating the seafood contained within the sunken freighter's shipping containers, but suddenly the antenna-like object on its head began glowing, as the monster became alert to the presence of several approaching submarines, which fired torpedoes at it. The monster took out both submarines off-screen, and was also able to stand up to the full power of the naval forces, sinking them off-screen as well. This kaiju is crazy powerful. Apparently, anyway. We still haven't been able to see its fighting capabilities on screen. The victorious and now furious kaiju began making its way towards Sakimi Port at the speed of 92 miles per hour, and arrived just around the time that his name in Japanese appeared on the screen. Perfect timing. It's easy to miss, but the monster's anglerfish lure flashed again, right before land forces fired missiles at it, indicating it may have already guessed the attack was coming. Undisturbed by this attack, the hangry creature slammed its face head first into a processing plant to eat the fish paste it contained. Kind of looks like me when I get my hands on a peanut butter jar. Oh, maybe that should have been left unsaid. Once again, Gatos' light flashed moments before being hit by several more missiles, and it responded to the attack by continuing to rampage, and even knocked a missile into the sea with its tail. Around this time, Scarred noticed that the monster was emitting heat from its body from the blowhole on its back, in order to keep its body temperature stable while on land. Captain Gento decided to try and hit this weak spot himself, and was able to land several hits on the destructive creature, but was distracted by a civilian who thought he could take on the kaiju by himself. Come on, man, this isn't Ultraman Taro. Luckily, the man fainted after Gatos bashed through a building, and this provided Gento with an opportunity to transform into Ultraman Blazar, since I guess he didn't want to fire at the monster's weak point anymore. Blazar began the battle by whacking the fish-like monster onto the ground. He then charged the creature and engaged in close-range combat. Gatos fought back by bashing Blazar away with his tail, and then unleashing a beam composed of pressurized water from its mouth. It knocked Blazar over for a moment, but he quickly got up and rushed toward the monster again, and dodged another blast of the water as if he was in the Matrix, or doing the limbo or something, and kicked Gatos over. He got in a few hits while the sea creature was down, then dragged the kaiju to its feet and wrestled with the beast before hiding behind a building. Gatos decided to try a new attack, and suddenly fired the lure on its head out like a whip, and caught Blazar by the neck, and then began electrocuting him, much like Eleking would do. However, Scard provided Blazar with some backup, and he was able to break free and pulled out his energy spear weapon called the Spiral Berade. The sight of this weapon scared the monster, who turned around and dove into the water before Blazar could throw the Berade. But Blazar had... Oh, hello, bird. Blazar had a plan. He extended his spear by pulling on it and then cast the end of it into the water, turning it into an energy fishing pole, which is kind of silly when you think about it. The end of the energy weapon rocketed toward Gatos and just kind of went into his mouth, and Blazar began reeling in probably the biggest catch any fisherman has ever made. Gatos fought really hard, but by tugging with all his might, Blazar was able to send his catch careening up into the air, and converted the energy fishing pole back into a spear. He tossed it up toward the sea creature, and the Berade ended up skewering the kaiju, and that's how the fight concluded. Gatos is a very new kaiju, so this was unsurprisingly his only major appearance so far. But in addition to appearing in the theme song and in the recap footage for the series, Gatos also got to make a minor appearance as an animated digital avatar in the latter two Ultraman Blazar recap episodes. This chibi version was called Little Gatos and was voiced by Shun Hori. The kaiju helped the robot Pag and Little Mogyusion cover the histories of the monsters that had appeared so far in Ultraman Blazar. Hey, covering kaiju histories is my job! Oh well. By the way, spoiler alert, don't listen for a moment if you don't want spoilers, but I'm hearing reports that Gatos may actually get at least a minor appearance in Ultraman Arc, possibly as a monster that gets combined with others to make a Chimera kaiju. We'll have to see what happens. Otherwise, I think that's everything Gatos has appeared in so far, though he may have made his way into a stage show or two. And that means the only thing we still have left to look at for now is Gatos merchandise, of which only one type of item exists as far as I'm aware. A Spark Doll-sized Ultra Monster series figure of Gatos was included in the modern Ultra Monster series as Kaiju number 197, and it's unique because you can pull the lure on its head to extend it, meaning it's the only figure in the entire line with a gimmick, at least that I can think of. I haven't picked this guy up yet, but he still seems to be affordable, so I haven't missed my chance yet. By the way, if you're thinking of buying an Ultra Monster or another Toku toy, please consider checking out my eBay store because I have tons of them available for sale. If you buy a figure here, not only are you getting something awesome, but you're also supporting your professor, which he appreciates. There's a link to my eBay store in the description.
Time's almost up, Professor. How are you doing?
Oh, well, Ack! That's huge! Why is everyone catching such big fish today but me? First Ultraman Blazar, now you, and I'm still fishless.
Well, maybe the fact you've been talking to your students and scaring the fish has something to do with it.
Oh, that's true. Maybe if I'm just quiet, I'll get a bite. How much time is left in the competition?
About 6.5 seconds.
I'm doomed! Wait, what's this?
It's giant!
Could it be?
Ow! What's the meaning of this, Professor?
Mr. Principal? What are you doing at the bottom of the lake?
None of your business. I'll have you know, Professor, that I'm not going to stand for this outrage. Pulling me up by a fishing line, indeed. I think now is the time to finally fire you from—
Hey, you saved my dad, Professor!
Wait, now hold on, son.
My dad can't swim, and he fell in the lake. You saved him!
Oh, so? Well, hold on. I think that's a bit of a stretch, son. It's not like I was drowning. I just couldn't breathe. Okay, fine. You aren't fired. For right now.
I should hope not. I think providing a raise would be a much better option.
Pah! He only saved me on accident. Come on, Kishimu-kun, let's get out of here.
Bye, Professor.
That guy makes me so mad. Let's just say you win the fishing contest, Professor.
Thanks.
You want your prize now?
What was it again? Oh, peanut butter? Oh, yes!
Uh,
Mm-hmm.